recording and copy.
In the event that Stephen and Ted don't show up since you're senior for us all,
We just don't have an agenda right now, so we've been on this thing pretty soon and done anything.
Right.
We don't have contracts out, so. I have a list of.
That's fine. Are you wanting to describe, you want to take notes or check?
We don't mind taking notes, that would be great since you're at your computer. Would you like to say? Sure, I mean, kind of introduce myself to them and found out about the is with your all the flights and going to college. Sorry. To introduce yourself to us. Yeah, Liza, anything I know from grades, the party or restaurant. And who's the new person from Riverside?
I didn't.
Do you have any Facebook?
I actually was reluctant. I don't know. Okay, so would you? I'll just go ahead and say, would you guys all agree? Since we've never here. Page to grab the name. I think the Facebook page is available and use to grab it. And then, I have no idea what the last using page from it. I was granted access to the map. That invite is going on Facebook, so I don't know if you has it.
And so if I grab these questions, then I you personally, or is there a city?
I don't think anything has been like that wants to contribute this and look at that.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if there was like a city.
Pretty probably, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I'd like to get those two connected as well, so they're both consistent and posted. Do we have anything for website comparisons?
Yeah, so I wanted to do this in person because there's too much when it turns into a whole email thing, it could take forever or something in person. So there's a lot of factors to consider with websites, but I'll just go ahead and use more of a simplified process for those of you who are probably not super involved with every specific one. But things that you want to consider are like, do you want this website to have a WordPress interface, which I probably recommend because going for people who don't care about messing with all the markup language that old school people do with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they're going to want WordPress inside of it. So one, we want to be a WordPress pre-installed website, which if we move on, that's the time. Two, how many visitors are we expecting? I think that this website traffic is a big thing that it's charging for, but I don't see us going over a crazy amount. We're not running a massive business and everything. I think as the time goes on, because there's going to be a lot of new changes to the website, there'll be traction. But I don't know if you guys agree or not. Do you guys ever think that a population of over 200,000 people are going to visit the website one month? Because the Louisiana-Road.com website, I think maybe we've had 6,000, 7,000 views a month or something like that.
That's about what the old website was averaging. I can go back and do those emails, but yeah, I want to say that's about the same.
Okay. Another thing too is like video storage. So they tend to be quite meticulous in their business practices. A lot of these special companies do, and they have different storage choices. And I think I think 50 gigabytes storage is sufficient because there is a idea that I had for doing like a video preview of the business here. And I think if you do that with Instagram, you just use Instagram server for the video hosting, and that way you don't compromise all the data on the website itself, because over time, you gotta think as time goes on, we don't know how many high resolution images we're uploading or we're storing those. If we just use Instagram, Facebook for all the mess of the photos, it's fine, videos, but it's like, you know, we're gonna upload sound clips. Is there anything specific we want to upload? So I think 50 gig would be a safe. I don't think we're gonna use all 50 gigs because we haven't used all the storage on the Louisiana-Road.com website. And then with that stuff being pushed aside, the one concern is obviously the cost. Until you get to the checkout screen, they tend to play with your emotions on, oh, we get this now, it's not now, but then when you go to checkout, it's like usually the 12-month or 34-month cycle is better because they pay less.
Yeah.
I have found that price ranges being anywhere from like $66 a year with the contract to like $134. It just depends on how much you want to pay out. And so I don't know what you guys would like to pay for or what the future estimate cost would be, but Bluehost.com, they offer a plan for 12 months with WordPress choice hosting, 12 months at $5.45 a month, at $65 for 12 months.
Is that just for the domain name or for the website?
That's just for hosting. So I actually bought the domain name for like 10 bucks. I'm just gonna go.
Okay, that's what I was like, I
Yeah.
don't think that's right for the domain. But, okay.
So Bluehost seems like they're pretty upfront about stuff. A2 hosting, they want like $191 for 12 months, and that's with all the WordPress features and stuff. And then there's another one that might have to overlook the contractual obligations, but there's something called Hoststinger.com, and at 12 months they charge $2.99 a month for the plan renews and $9.99 a month. So for the first 12 months we pay $35.50 for the year. But the question is, you know, do we want to go 1 year, 2 years, 2 years?
And do those all have a discount for the full year
Yes.
front? Okay, can you send out just those comparisons in an email, just that way we can see all of those numbers? Yeah, those also average. So we get going on that. And about how long do you think that would take to have that built and ready to go?
It wouldn't take very long. I actually want to go over this with you guys first. So I've looked at a lot of emerging trends on a lot of tourist websites, and I was kind of thinking of making more of a hybrid website that takes a lot of the ideas behind them. So Colombia's tourism and visitor bureau, they have an introduction area where you can see VPT, right? And it shows their number and like their stuff. And then I was thinking about embedding what's called a V card. It's a QR code, but it's a little bit different. So the V card, if someone hovers their phone over it, is instantly a contact card. So they can plug that to their phone and contact. And so I was thinking each person is a V card on their business contact on there. And then there's something I thought maybe to promote the Riverfront when you have visitors come to town, or something from the Color Fest or whatever, maybe they could submit like a fun photo or something, and then take that photo, upload it to Instagram, and then you would synchronize it, which is called a curator, I think. It puts a feed on the website and it shows the tagged photos that you know.
Yeah.
But see, you want them to submit it to us first for approval and submit it, because they can just tag it and go on and put it on there. But I was thinking like, say if you visit, I think it's like there's like Visit Illinois or something like that. They'll have a hashtag Visit Illinois, but then they have a whole feed of stuff. So the website being built would not be a problem. It's just that how much creative vision do you guys want to interfere with, and then like, is it going to be like a lot of micromanaging, or should I just slap something together and you guys decide for a meeting or you know, you'll have something?
I would say let's at least get it started and get it going. I personally think we should work on our own tourism branding, which I'm happy with that package together. That way, our social media, our website, everything looks the same, and it doesn't necessarily have city colors, but that way, like, it's all recognizable. So I can work on that, and then if you just want to get together, then we can move things around.
And that's something I actually am glad that you brought up. So the website, it's more about features and functionality than aesthetics right now. So when it gets up and running, it would be really great if you guys, if whoever wants to come up with an idea for a unique logo. Does that sound interesting? Because if you look at like logos, I thought this would go on forever, especially like if you have a different generation of people that are into nostalgia. Like, okay, if you go to Hannibal, Missouri, they have Mark.
Right.
You go to Hannibal, Missouri, Mark Twain's like, can't keep in mind. Well, when it comes to logo here, I wonder what people think outside this town. Are we known for Momo? Are we known for the Henderson Park gentlemen? You know, like what is our thing that we pull?
I mean, I think for us, it's color as like, I mean, from everybody I talked to that oh, yeah, that's where I'm from. They're like, why is it we use the golds, the oranges, those fall colors throughout the year? I think that would pull us all the way through, and then we can still play on, you know, the river, Nestor buildings, things like that, as smaller pieces. But I think just we have to get people to a point that they know Louisiana for the town that it is. And so I think going that direction will probably take us for this. Like, yeah, we're known for 1 2-day event, but we do it. That's what we're known for. That's what we're known for. So we are advertising for our winter events. I don't know. But we should still have Christmas parade. I don't know if they would fall that. I don't know if it's just the Christmas parade or if they have different name for it since vendors or the Christmas tree lighting. That's awesome.
Is that who is that historically? Is that ran by Bluebird first?
I want to say that's concerned citizens. It's either concerned citizens or community betterment. I want to say it's I'm like trying to picture the floats in my head from last year, and I'm like, what the float? But then we'll go look. Summer and winter float. So that.
So, Who's typically responsible for mustard?
I don't know if that's a group or if that's a private person.
It didn't, Mr. Joe lead some kind of tour, or is it haunted tour?
She used to do the haunted tours. I don't know if she is wanting to bring that back. I'm happy to ask her though. I think that would be awesome. Because we have enough time now. And then, color fest is still gonna be the same.
Or that chamber. Aren't they doing it this year?
I wasn't sure if y'all heard anything official about it. So. Do we have any, I would brainstorm some new ideas for how we want to go about advertising for the rest of the year. In the past, we've done print, we have our billboards out. We had talked about the one right up here on 54, the big billboard that just says visit historic Louisiana. That's our billboard. I think it would behoove us that by the end of September to buy a new vinyl that says, you know, Color Fest, third weekend in October, big fat arrow, come down Georgia, let's go, you know, and to use that as that big marker, because otherwise, like, they're just gonna fly past it, they're not gonna see it from any other roads. So I know that was one thing that we had talked about. I don't believe that vinyl has been bought yet. And I know they put out like a small sign, but I think if we, since we have that billboard for the rest of the year, we should utilize it. To get people down and at least do the planning at the 150 enough time. If you're driving there, you're driving.
Do you know how much?
I didn't even look that up. I don't remember off. Yeah, I didn't find that contract too. And then how else do you guys feel about advertising for this? We can't put anything mailboxes. But yeah, I don't think we've done anything like mail. But you're talking about like just sending out. Like if they're physical stamps to in the mail, they just put a flyer. Yeah, we can look at that. Because I don't like people, so when I work for Title Max, we used to do canvassing. So, you know, on a slow day, me and the manager walk around and just can't put things in the mailbox. Yeah, so it's actually canvassing. Yeah.
Whether it was, mailbox itself, but maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I can look at that because I know we looked at it and I think you can choose like your areas based on the newspaper. So I think that was, yeah, and so I think if we do like newspaper inserts, they use that to reach like Bowling Green and surrounding areas. So great.
Somebody or a question.
Yeah, and I mean, even, you know, take the day going up to Boulevard, Main Street. use. So, let's get, this, so they only want to. And I'll get with, chamber as well, find out just what they're already doing on their own. That would be an overlap with them. That would be necessarily have to create an individual strategy.
I guess one, would we create new mini trifolds or new brochures? And then two, what would we do about the, not to add too many things to our plate, but like, because I know that I guess that tourism board group has been for so long, I don't know, like, I think it needs some love or TLC, you know, so like, how do we go about?
So last time there was pamphlets in the basement closet. And we can refill those. Personally, I think we should. They have, but what I've seen, we have so and it just make that more of a part of our website. Oh, you want to do the cemetery walking tour? Where those boxes, that makes sense, and it takes them to an online. Okay, here's your item, and here's your logo.
Okay, well, I would want, that some people who, are hostile to technology, they actually have their called light smartphones, where they don't, like, they're forcing themselves off the smartphone, and some people like don't want to own a smartphone because they don't want to have it, right? But when you go to a restaurant, some people like refuse the QR code, they want the menu. So that's a good point about there being a huge, influx of, unused flyers down the basement, but that's just kind of like an FYI, and there's some people that.
Yeah, and I understand that there's always gonna be those people, but I also think they're the minority, and I don't think that's necessarily worth it for our budget to buy more and more flyers that, you know, we can buy 5 boxes at a time, and it takes us 10 years to go through. You know, like, if you don't have a smartphone, you probably somebody else. They can read it, they can talk it out. I worry about, like, yes, I wanna be inclusive and all that, but I wanna make sure if they're, yeah, if they're in the minority, that they're also in the minority of our budget, if that makes sense.
Well, to circle back to something you said earlier, a lot of the elderly don't have social media. You're talking about everybody's flyers, right? So I guess I'm having a bit of a hard time understanding, like, would that kind of be the same thing?
Right, and I think that, like, doing flyers for a specific event, that's a much smaller thing, that's a much smaller run. And they're like, okay, we need to make sure that we have all of these flyers ready to go, and then the pamphlets just sit there. You know, like, we haven't made a new pamphlet since I've been here. And you use the ones that you have already? Yeah. Yeah. And I think they're still making pamphlets like, they're still making pamphlets because that's their demographic. They may be people who donate towards tourism.
You know what, actually, just made me realize something. I guess maybe the thing that I thought is, okay, maybe the QR code X on it, maybe not necessarily have to make more flyers or new ones, but make sure that there's something that makes it not like, how can we beautify it besides that, you know, like maybe put some design on there, say, well, embed the actual map or like they friendly, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, I like where you're at, just having like laminated maps in those places to show where they need to go.
Just something that like makes it not look like it's from a lost civilization. Like,
Yeah.
the planet is water.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, storming on that. And that might be something that we put in the, like the Missouri Life and the Columbian and things like that, is our advertisement is a map of town. And use that as like, about the town, here are the different things you do, it's just kind of a simplified map of town, and we use that as our advertisement. And that way it is paper, but it's not along, it's them going into their brand.
But I do also like that.
Yeah. And people enjoyed all the little stuff, so I think to jump on that and have kind of that QR code pamphlet box, if you will, they would be interested in. You know, just have those around town. Okay, we made it from, you know, we did the historic district down to the river. We did all those QR codes. Well, now we're at the river. What's next? Oh, we can walk to the cemetery from here. We'll scan that one and go up there. Kind of scouting hunted almost.
Yeah.
We do have a surprisingly walkable town. Or it's just me.
That's a good key with walk, I understand walk without.
Yeah, we do. We have a little walkable. You do your shopping, your dining, and your play all in one.
Question for you, since you're the owner of the arcade. I don't know if this is an infrastructure thing or if this, like, how does it work? Because there's been kind of like since Club Mississippi has been shut down, I don't know what the appetite is for live music. And,
Everybody wants it.
okay, but what is, something, like, what kind of risks are you willing to take? Because I know I did some research on this, prior to the spring fling that was ran by the OMC. And there are certain bands and groups out there that, I mean, unless there's some like high dollar amount that I don't know about personally, I've seen, like, I'm sure you've heard of Flock of Seagulls. Right. I found out that there was a band, or there's a town over in Illinois, about 79 miles away. It's like I guess they have some kind of vineyard or something, but the population is 12 people. Well, somehow I managed to get those people to perform there. And they also got like trap rock band there and stuff like that. It's like there's 1,200 people there. I don't know kind of how much is going on there, but we have over 3,000 people here. So it's like, okay, can't we have 500 people here? And what are the risks involved in that? So I know a lot of those bands, I could be wrong about this, but I think most businesses want to try to sell more alcohol. Yes. And so like, is that something, is your venue equipped to deal with a potential artist? And if you have an artist there, would they be able to set up like VIP packages like that? Is that seen that?
Well, we actually have had a concert there for another in August, jazz bands. So it's something that we are doing. That answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I just haven't heard much about it. I've just heard, no one's really made any comments about any place around here really doing the inheritance. I haven't heard anything, so I just did.
Let's also remember the upheaval that was having to pay to get into the Elks to hear the live music during spring.
Well, that's another thing,
Like people don't want to pay.
yeah, everybody, people are coming back saying, when are you gonna do it again, when are you gonna do it again? And then now, the jazz band's talking about charging at the door, and I'm charging at the door. I told him, put a big jar in front of your van and people will tip you. That's how you initiate it. Yeah, you throw a few bucks in there, people are gonna walk around, they're happy, they're drinking, they're gonna toss you money. As far as like flock seagull or somebody that like that, I'm assuming that they would require, for us to pay them something, and I just don't have the revenue right now to pay out any kind of money for a band to come in, especially if there's no guarantee that they're gonna bring a crowd.
Right.
I'm trying to start small because I've been bullying since last year. There have been, we just cleaned house. I just cleaned house. I have a new cook there. He's helping me run the bar. I just brought in a family member from out of town to help me run the place. So, and again, I do have a jazz event scheduled in August. So I think that is a big need in this town. I think a lot of people are looking for some type of entertainment outside of going out to eat there.
Yeah, we're looking.
And we definitely have the accommodation, we have the Airbnb upstairs, where, they did want to do some kind of VIP package, they could do. It's just, there's nothing that we can't do. It just depends on the scale of it.
Okay. Awesome. And of course, when I brought that band name up, I know like that name, that it probably costs money, but I'm just saying, like, there are bands that go to some of these small towns. Because I actually tried to reach out to quite a few like stand-up comedians and stuff. It's like, what if it's competing contest,
People love comedy.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, but a lot of them will go to more like progressive cities, bigger cities, and it's like, okay, well, if these small towns never get to continue at any time, and I can afford to go to the city, and they're just never going to experience that. So I just didn't know the answer to this question, because I know at one point in time there's a city was open to hell. I know I was
How far is Cloud, Mississippi?
It's right next to the.
Oh.
Like, I don't know I don't know their business operation, but I know when they were open at one point, they were cheap.
And that's definitely on our list. I would like to make it like a monthly thing, or once a month. I've got some connections, listen, I already spoke to her, well, try about here again, I gave the company, they're staying while they're here, so that helps.
And I think we should be looking for more of those opportunities to advertise through our budget throughout the year. Not just sprinkling bluegrass or color fest. We need to be looking for those things throughout the year that might be smaller, but okay, so we throw $100 in Facebook advertisements, and things like that. Something I was thinking about this morning. Do we want to start reaching out to influencers who are, in the Midwest who do travel and make a video about our town? Come spend a weekend. I think that might be a good option if there's something going on. Also, like, and I don't know if this is a possibility, I don't know if it falls within our scope. I in the world's largest statue, large ball twine, whatever.
With a giant bronze.
Exactly, that's my thought, it's some kind of Momo statue. And I don't know if that technically falls within our scope. I don't know if that's something we can go with the other groups in town on. But I think that would bring people into town, and then we can advertise that all year long.
Yeah.
Come look at our giant Momo.
Yeah, be good because I know when I was in college, we had a goal, some horse, law statute. People get drunk on that thing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, like there's our internet presence, right there, so it's done, so it takes. Invite some products to this
Uh, so in regards to electric vehicle charging, the idea is that Ameren is giving an incentive, right? They will get 50% of project costs, or they'll pay so much per plug. And so there were level 2 plugs and DC fast charging. And DC fast charging is the kind of charging where you get 80% within an hour or something. Level 2 charging is a little bit slower, but you just need your car charging as well. People would see that if they were typing it in on map, right? There's all kinds of charging within certain radius, but Hamilton is already voluntary at those DC fast chargers. So you don't have anything in the next, I think you're charging level 2 chargers all of this. But if people see that, they would find out that Louisiana actually exists as long as it's and so, step-by-step process is first, you have to have someone who knows electricity, but needs to install, it's called a pedestal, where the pedestal is the big metal thing that does that, and then there's the pedestal, and that has a wire. And so you have to have an electrical installer first, approved, then that would get submitted to the grant application. And for a while, and I guess it would be next year. But then the next is how much are we pay for the physical chargers, right? And in some scenarios where you could buy, 2 commercial chargers, probably just bring it to the pole, or you could just build your own because the pedestal seems to cost the most.
Yeah.
And then, would it be weather resistant? Would it be compatible with all vehicles, not just Teslas? Because Tesla dominates the market. Yeah. And then the next problem after that is getting quotes for them because they hide their prices since they want to talk to them and they want to drive things. And then the last thing is those commercial EV chargers, they are connected to mobile networks. So you'll have 4G LTE or 5G signal. We're more of a 4G LTE, we don't talk 5G too much yet, but I think we'll be down 4G. But there is, the transactions go to the cloud. And so we have to pay a yearly fee for that. And then I think it's once a month, the company, depending on how many people came to the charge, they would send you a check. But I've been to some businesses in town, and every one of them asked the question, how would it benefit, how is this going to work for me? Well, first of all, if you were to install a EV charger fast line, boom, someone can go and get their stack or whatever, and then walk around. But there's also infrastructural limitations. So it's like, well, so how come you can't install EV chargers on the street? Well, it all depends on breaking points. I'm not an electrician, but I know a lot of those are not for 200 volts, right? So there are stipulations with the grant. They will only approve certain chargers depending on their rating and stuff like that. But then also, again, it's just a lot of stuff that gets entangled into, what's in it for me. So that's something.
So, yeah, I don't know if that would really fall approving or not, but it's just something that we thought,
Right.
not put something out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Is it-
similar to
You like, have it like EV chargers, it shows, yeah, full efficiency of animal truck.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, and I think that would be great, and the closer we can get it to Georgia, where, you know, okay, your car's charging, go grab lunch. There, hey, go shopping at Hampton Harvest, go to the places that are right there, where you're not going too far. You know, the other cars, if they just sit in them while they're charging.
I don't know, but then if we want to do that in Georgia, then we can have it right there.
Yeah.
Our chargers and they can farm out, and that they can.
Oh, I was gonna say, would that be something as a committee that we would put a small?
I think I don't, we have to look through our statutes and what we're actually supposed to spend our money on. And I don't know if that would fall under the 50-mile radius rule. Like, all of the other ones are 50 miles away, and so we're technically pulling them from those communities because we're 50 miles away. And I haven't read through everything in a minute, but that would be my question, is how far away are those other ones can kind of play to that radial rule. Or is it, somebody else has to get that set up and we ensure we do a big marketing on that? For the first 6 months, hey, you have, advertising component. Ever so much advertising. My other thought was, would we be interested in doing sponsorships for events outside of town? That way we get the name of CNMO on whatever their merch, their advertisements are. Like, we don't necessarily have to go set up a booth or anything. I think that would be something Chamber should be doing. But for us to say, you know, yeah, we'll take from sponsorship for an event in in Troy. And then that states our logo on their advertising, all of their stuff for their events. And that also makes those connections to know who's doing what in those towns. That way we can then say, hey, we're doing this in our town, come on over, sponsor us. I don't know, I guess that's technically be advertising. I would like to open up more of those conversations with other towns and their tourism, their community engagement, whatever their version of tourism is, opening up those conversations. I know the guy in Campbell was super sweet. I went to one of their lectures. It was like modern day retail. But he was super nice about it. He's like, hey, if you guys have any questions, just call me. Maybe those connections would be good for us. I think that's something this town desperately needs, is to not have our head in our sand, but we need to now talk to those other people, those connections.
Just to reconfirm, so, if I get the website running, we would have to have a council meeting, or should I just choose a temporary website provider that's not like paid, that's free, and I can just use the logo and redirect it to that from now?
It's like
after I send you all the comparisons, to make a decision there, and then we can bring it down.
That would be us. Just because that was not in our original budget for your website, so I think it would be best to say, hey, guys, we're budgeting. Yes.
Myself.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Official.